I believe that the reason God created man was for management.
Really? I have never heard it put that way.
The first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you have not changed yourself.
God will never allow growth where there is no management.
Wow, wow, wow.
So instead of praying for things from God, pray for the management ability.
Everything I tell you is true. Everything I open my mouth and I say is correct because heaven directs me on what to say. Eligwe, heaven will tell me and I will tell you it will come to pass in front of your eyes. Not behind it, you will see it happening.
God will withhold things from you if you cannot manage them.
When you look at the facts that something around 1 million people perished as a result of the actions of the British and Russian and Nigerian federal governments.
Vis-a-vis what we see in Nigeria, which is truly not, it should not be surprising. Look, what's happening in Nigeria is barbarous. It's horrible. I mean, it's complete madness, yet it's not a priority. The United States unilaterally could do almost anything it needs to do. It would be a long-term effort, but it could be done. And the United States has the capability. All the elements of power, we have those.
So why not?
It's not a priority. That's the problem. We are committed elsewhere in the world. Black West Africa is not a priority.
Anybody who changes his principles depending on whom he is dealing, that is not a man who can lead a nation.
They can't tell me.
No way.
When the time comes,
It's okay.
what stupid country is this? So when you see you try somebody's secret, when you like, you try a secret, when you like it's in public, what stupid country is that? What stupid country is that I ask you? When you like, you try in secret, when you like to try in private, they are killing my people. 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 After killing my people, you tell me how to try in secret? The person is mad. Completely mad. Tell Buhari, that's what I said. That he is mad. He cannot tell me. He cannot tell me. He's a madman. There's a contempt of court proceedings here. Contempt of court. They don't obey court order. They don't obey court order. You're telling me secret trial. Is the person mad? I, Nnamdi Kanu, will sacrifice anything sacrificable to make sure that Biafra comes.
We hereby declare no election, no 2023 general election in Biafra land. This no election in Biafra land has been activated. We are going to make it a task that must be done by every Biafran. All measures will be put in place to make sure the adequate civil disobedience is implemented to stop the election in Biafra land.
the meaning of discovery? It means to bring to light something that is buried on the ground. If you can accept that, then you know that Biafra is coming. There is nothing man can do about it. It's too late. Way, way too late. The countdown has begun.
Hi, everyone. Good evening from here. I want to appreciate you wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. It depends on, your local time. And I want to say welcome to the program. Today is Recreating Biafra program, but it's just a quick one because in fact, the activities of today has not actually made me to actually meet up with the time for today. That is why I'm coming by this time. So please pardon me. I'm really sorry for coming in late, 1 hour, 25 minutes late into the program, or 1 hour, 90 minutes into the program. I want to appreciate you. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, and this is Biafra Global Network. Again, the hallowed platform where we speak the truth and nothing but the truth. And I want to make you understand that my resolve for Biafra and to stand for freedom is unshaken. As Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have always said, that the 100 men he has, prayed to God to come, has come. And of course, he was taken so that the 100 men would gather themselves. And here we are, we have gathered ourselves, and Mazi Simon Ekpa doing the great work that Elohim has mandated him, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has told him to carry on until he's back. And here we are today, looking critically at our freedom in our eyes. Before us, we have our freedom before us. And I want to assure you that it is no going back on no election in Biafra land. Whatever the world want to do, whatever propaganda, whatever kind of, manipulation, BBC have been existing for 90 years now. They celebrated their 90 years about in November or so. And all that they go about doing and all they do is propaganda. And today I'm going to be telling you about the propaganda, again, using the narrative of election, again, that was projected on their platform today, trying to endorse and make the people believe that Nigeria can still work. Under the auspices of their program, what's the name of that program now? The program Witness History or something. They when they say, 3 witnesses, one answer or something, and they come and just in the case of Biafra, in the case of Nigeria, the contraption Nigeria, they came to say just jumble some stuff and get some people called witnesses who came about and talking what they don't know. People who are, rather than getting intellectuals to talk, they get Nigerians to talk, and that's where they got it wrong, because those who they actually handpicked to talk to them are Nigerians. They refuse to pick intellectuals to talk because they want a result that will suit their own plan and the program of the British government. And that's what we have come today to mess them up today, that we intellectuals and majority of Biafrans who are intellectuals understand the tactics and the game tactics. This is not the first time the propaganda have been there, before the war. They have used them. They used them also during the war and after the war, and they are still there helping the Nigerian government, because that is where they cash out. They cash out in the name, under the name Nigeria. If that name is eradicated, Britain will have no ability to cash out from our land anymore. For them to cash out, from our land, they have to fight to sustain that name. But before I go on, I want to thank you all for joining, because I've not thanked you guys. I want to say thank you from wherever you're watching from. I want to say thank you to you, and I want to say to you, my brothers, and those of you send a message. Barry Eric has sent his message. God bless you too, my brother. Good evening from here also to you, Barry, and also Joy. And Joy Dozier, thank you, Juan Dozier, thank you so much, Joy. I appreciate you for the message. And those of you who are watching, John Almeida, thank you so much. Good to have you here again today. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have not sent a message and you need to send a message, I want you to send a message. Also, I want to say to you that our victory is near. We must understand the times and read the times. And this is part of the things I'm going to be talking about today, being able to read the times and know that the enemy is not sleeping. if you observe the tempo, you know, I don't know whether most of you are really observing what is happening. You know, during close to the time that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, you know, was going to be kidnapped, you saw that the Nigeria government and their narrative went low. Everybody was quiet because they had a program on, and you know, and all of that. And we are beginning to observe them too. It seems they are planning seriously and trying to get people to infiltrate us, but they have lost. That is why we are here. It's not going to happen again. Nothing like that can happen again. We are here to secure our freedom and to make sure that we get our victory. I want to welcome you. Stay okay, and stay blessed as you just dedicate yourself to watching this program today. Before we go on, and before I begin to say the things I need to say today, I want to play these videos and to bring your mind back to the resoluteness of our people, and to remind you that all you need is to be resolute, and all you need is to check yourself if you are one of the 100 people Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is counting on for sacrificing everything he has sacrificed, whether you are one of those who have actually made his sacrifice worth it, or you're one of those who have made his sacrifice a mess, who have trampled on his sacrifice. You spit on his sacrifice, you spit on him by your actions. Check yourself and know if you stand in spite of whatever, you are standing for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Let's go there.
Of Biafra.
We've lived in the north for so many years, and the reward the Hausas could give my poor father was to kill him. He was the first man killed in the May massacre. After being chased for some few yards, they shot at him, and then when they got him, they had to slice him into two, like, you know, when you want to slice your bread into two. A human being being sliced into two. Can you imagine such a thing? Biafra is going to emerge as a nation. You know, despite the support of Britain, Russia, Egypt, and some other friends of Nigeria, we all will surely come out as a nation because we are fighting a just cause. Even a little child on the street will tell you this. We shall never go back to Nigeria again. God's grace will surely emerge as a nation. And so, as far as this war continues, we'll fight to the last man.
Because what I am saying on Abumanyamini, our people are lame. They are weak. I am struggling to count how many men there are in Biafra land. There are no more men left. Weak, docile, and imbecilic. Weak. I don't know how we can take such people to war. I don't know how we can take men who are not men into battle and win. I am ashamed. Very, very ashamed. Nonetheless, we must preach this very gospel because man did not ask us to come. Chukwu Abiyama in heaven mandated that we should come. If not, that I was called to do this very work, I will not speak to any of you anymore. But Chukwu Abiyama said this very gospel must be preached, and we must preach it. I have prayed since yesterday up until now. My request is very simple. The same prayer I made in secret, I will make out here in the open. Chukwu Abiyama biko. Since it is your intention that your kingdom will be restored upon this very earth, I need men. I need men. I did not say boys. I said I need men. Those of them that you created to restore your kingdom, they should come forward now, not tomorrow, not next year. Chukwu Abiyama. You must bring them now. I did not say tomorrow. Because the insult is too much. It is beyond what any human being can endure. We want to go and get Biafra, or we die in the process, because we are better off dead than witness some of this nonsense going on. The level of insult is beyond what any decent human being can tolerate. They bring their cattle into our land. They desecrate our land. They kill us in the presence of our families and nobody does anything about it. And when the police attend, the police sit idly by as people are being killed by not a multitude of people. Only 4. Only 4 Awasa people can sack an entire village in Biafra land, and we call ourselves men. No, we are not men until we redeem our honor, until we look at integrity and say we must have a part of it. Until then, to be honest with you, this is Radio Biafra. Now is the time to come forward. I did not say tomorrow. Now, tonight is the time to come forward. 100 of us, and then we march. 100 and we march. The rest can come later if they want to. I'm tired of broadcasting. I want to fight for my country. I want to carry arms to defend the honor and integrity of my country. I want to avenge the death of 6 million people. I want Biafra to stand as a beacon of hope, freedom, and liberty in black world. I want Biafra to stand as a testament to the glory of heaven upon the face of this very earth. I want Biafra to stand because my obligation to the dead outweigh that which I owe to the living. That is why Biafra will stand.
My obligation to the dead outweighs that I owe to the living. I don't know about you. That is the heart desire of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, what he wants Biafra to be, and that is why he gave that ultimate sacrifice. If you will talk about ultimate sacrifice, you must understand what ultimate sacrifice is. Some of us don't really understand what ultimate sacrifice mean. Ultimate sacrifice mean to give that thing that ordinarily you shouldn't have done. That kind of sacrifice that connects to your life being taken from you. That kind of sacrifice that demands that you lay your life for the cause of what you're doing. Not a sacrifice of money or a sacrifice of, they say, give a very painful seed in your ministries. No, that's not sacrifice. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about sacrifice that connects to your blood, that connects to you losing even your life. That is the ultimate sacrifice Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is talking about. And how many of us have that spirit to actually lay down everything that we are for Biafra? I want to thank you all. Your messages are coming. Judo Dino says, good evening, Mazi. My brother Alex Uche says, Mazi Kelechi, Biafrans worldwide is so proud of you. Thank you so much, my brother. You've chosen. Let the fire burning. Let the fire keep fire. Let the fire burning as usual. Okay, yes, I'll keep it burning. So good to have you now. Let's go straight to business. Now, I want you to first understand that the countdown is critical to our collective interest. That's where I want to begin. Before I go to BBC and their propaganda, I want you to understand this. It is critical to our collective interest. The countdown is not a design to count into the days or to the last days. No, the countdown entails critical work and critical analysis of situation, critical observation, critical alertness, and critical approach to matters towards the end of the time, especially towards the time of the election that is proposed, which we said is not going to hold in Biafra land. Now, the essence of this whole, countdown is tilted towards our freedom, right? But we understand that there's a pointer and there's something that we are using as a basis of creating that attention that the globe has been looking for. And that the globe has refused to look at, and that is stopping the endorsement, another 4 years endorsement of that contraption called Nigeria. Now, I want you to understand what the contraption represents. One, it represents a business. Of course, we all know this. It is a business registered company And it only thrives when the people allow it to thrive. Why? Because it is actually registered for the people to adopt as a product for themselves, whereas they are the products to it. So Nigeria is registered to get the approval in a devious way, the approval of the people, thinking that they are all together trying to fight towards freedom and unity, thinking that they are doing things together to see how they can be united. And then religion is used to deceive you on the concept of living in unity, and the concept of being your brothers, and having to stay with one another and your brother, not giving you the understanding that the fact that you are forced together is out of scripture, is contrary to scripture. But they want to tell you about living together in unity, trying to make you feel that you have to love one another, but not in the context of what love truly is. Love does not mean that you throw yourself out of wisdom and allow yourself to be killed. That's not, no. Jesus died for a cause. He didn't die stupidly. Mazen Amdekano is where he is now for a cause. He didn't get there stupidly. You must understand what it means to sacrifice and not being foolish. There's a thin line between sacrifice and foolishness. You have to understand that thin line and know how to understand it. So when they tell you that, we have Christians, we have to live together, we have to be united, we have to look for how we're going to live with the Hausas and live with the Fulanis and live with this and live with that, tell them that they are, say to them, get thee behind me, Satan, because you are actually misrepresenting scripture. That is why we tell people to read the scripture for themselves. When they read the scripture for themselves, they will know how to interpret these things in the context of what God truly is talking about, especially when they read it praying that God gives them revelation of what they need to know about this. That is why you will not be misled by these religious people who keep telling you to pray for Nigeria. That is where the problem is. But before I go intensely into this particular issue, I want to go on the issue of BBC. Today on BBC, a particular program, under the auspices of a particular program, which is, I think they call it Witness History or something. Yes. And they were talking and they were giving a narrative of Nigeria, and they brought people, they always have 3 witnesses in that particular program. And then after the 3 witnesses, and the 3 witnesses are 3 people interviewed on different topics, driving them to a particular point they are trying to arrive at. And the particular point they were trying to arrive at here now in this text of Nigeria by BBC is that they want to assure people that Nigeria can work. So they brought the first witness history, they brought the second witness history, they brought the third witness history, and then they summed it up. They told the people that how is it possible that Nigeria can work? And then they summed it up. They said, yes, it is possible. You just need leadership. That is the summation. They need leadership who will come to take into cognizance the interest of everybody. Well, how is it possible to take the interest to be able to deal with the interest of everybody? That becomes the question. Now, how is it possible for you to come from Oduduwa nation and Fulani will accept you and not see you as an infidel? How is it possible for you to come from Biafra nation and Fulani sees you and does not see you as an infidel? How would you come even from an Hausa nation and the Fulani or the Juguns or the Efik or whatever, wherever you are from, wherever you are from, how would they see you as not an infidel, especially when you are not of Islam, when you are not a Muslim? When their target is that this land that you are occupying is theirs because Allah has given it to them based on the preaching of Uthman Dan Fodio. How will they now allow for peace and unity? Why would you force yourself to be in peace and unity in the context of staying together? Does peace and unity mean that Britain must compose a name called Nigeria and everyone must be forced under that name when we know the intention of that name? Unity does not mean being together in one Nigeria. That is not unity. Unity means to have understanding and to work together by agreement. That is what unity means. So you must not be under the same name called Nigeria to know that you are working in unity. because unity does not mean being under an umbrella body or being under one organization. I can be in an organization, you can be in another organization, yet we can communicate on that level ground where we can meet. At that point we meet, and that point we meet becomes our agreement point for us to work together according to that the dictates of what we met for, or on the grounds of why we are meeting, or the auspices of what we met for. So Britain creates Nigeria and makes you feel that if you are not staying with the Fulanese under Nigeria, you are not united. And then they come from the point of religion to make you feel that if you are rejecting your Fulani or Yoruba or whoever, under the auspices of Nigeria, or the Hausas under the auspices of Nigeria, you are not being a Christian, because you are supposed to be united with people. And they make you feel that Christianity means stupidity. That means get yourself into trouble and then you lose your brains. And just get out of your brain and just do what we tell you to do. But Christianity is beyond that, because Christianity in actual sense was not a concept of religion until it was composed to be religion. Now look at it critically. BBC tells you now, paints the narrative, because their election is coming close, according to what they are saying, rather than them reporting the situation that is going on in Biafra land, rather than them reporting the killings. Yesterday, people were killed in our land. Fulanis came and butchered people. Rather than BBC reporting these things, they came up with a narrative to design a program and try to cajole people to understand that the only problem they have is leadership. That means they must stay together. All you need to do is to vote. And they just gave profile of everybody, and then they begin to give a profile of those who, of those who are campaigning. And they never told you those people came to Chatham House to give their loyalty to the king and to England, or to the British. And then also they never told you that the people always go to be endorsed by the caliphate, so that they will understand what the caliphate expects of them when they get there, whichever wins. Because the thing is that the program is this: the caliphate designs the program by endorsing or selecting those that would suit their interests. First, they will first corrupt people in all of the nations in the contraption. They make sure those ones soil their hands in corruption. They make sure that these people that they are appointing in our Hanese and not in their political or in politics from the regions corrupt their hands in the affairs of Nigeria and become criminal, so that you would, based on your criminality, be loyal to them. Because if you have a clean hand, there's no way they can actually hold you to ransom when it comes to you keeping to the promise of sustaining their empire, the the Fulani Caliphate program. So all they need to do is first get you corrupted. That is why all the politicians in Biafra land, all the politicians in the zoo contraption, those ones who are actively in those PDP and APC, and those ones who have been actively involved by their appointments into some departments of the Nigeria contraption, who have served Nigeria, have been corrupted somehow. So when they look at you and they look at your records, they know you are corrupted somehow, you have stolen somehow. You can be a very good point to serve the Fulani very well, because they will look at you and tell you, this is the way you're corrupt, this is what you have stolen, we have the records of your errors, we have the records of the things that you have done, and so we are not going to jail you, but we are going to bring you in, we're going to help you, we want you to play ball with us, we are all in this business together. But based on the fact that you have been corrupted, and based on the fact that you have stolen the resources that were given to you, we should jail you, but we're not going to jail you. So, but we're just going to give you positions. So, but you must stay according to our rules. So now the Fulanese are able to influence people from your region who would now become the subjects of Fulani Caliphate, and who would naturally, by the order of how they have pardoned them, based on the fact that they have worked on their greed to make them steal, and based on the fact that they have worked on their greed, their own their own selfish attitude and behavior, and have used that against them, and now they have become their subjects. You must be corrupted before you become you can be given an appointment under Nigeria. You must be a corrupt person. That is the concept. You must be corrupt, because corruption helps to have a level of trust on you, because the Fulani Caliphate is about corruption, killing, stealing, and all of that. And of course, those who composed Nigeria made it to steal. So how can you be pure and be put in that line? No, it's not possible. That is why everything that has to do with Nigeria is not workable. That is why everything that has to do with Nigeria is not workable, because it is a corrupt entity. It is created for corruption. It is created to enhance corruption. It is created to enhance corruption. It is created to sustain corruption, and it is created to increase corruption, and it is also created to produce instruments and vessels of corruption in human beings. And so they turn them from being human beings to becoming less than animals, because they have to behave less than animals to be able to become very wicked, so that you cannot predict the wickedness of the heart of man. That is why God says the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know it? Because when you look at an animal, you can predict based on their instinct. You know that this is how a lion will behave. This is how a tiger will behave. This is how a monkey will behave. This is how they behave. So based on the fact that you know how they behave, you now work with wisdom to handle them based on how they behave. When you are able to tame them by what you understand about them, you will not be in trouble. But in the context of a human being, when they are wicked in their heart, you cannot tame them to a point, because you don't understand. Now, they are not just working with instincts, they are working with their senses. So on the basis of senses, they can manipulate their way in different ways. Dangerous diversity. Chukwu Kadibia, thank you so much for that. Dangerous diversity. That's what we live in. So how can you be in a situation of dangerous diversity and you are talking about unity? Common sense tells you. Now look at it all over the nations of the world. I want to ask BBC. All over the world today, there is no, which of the nations in the world have a people with such kinds of dangerous diversity staying together? Let's ask BBC. Florence, thank you so much, Florence. Oh, the propaganda is, I think I want to say the propaganda is fierce. Okay, he said the propaganda is fierce. Okay, the propaganda is fierce. Yes, very fierce propaganda. I want to ask BBC, which country in the world today has a group of people having such differences, different people of such level of difference, and they are together as a country? Which of them in this world? Why must it be Biafra and other people who are grossly different, who are clearly different, cultural difference, very far from, in fact, 180 degrees, separation apart? Why do you want to sustain such kind of gruesome evil and then use religion as a way of preaching unity in stupidity? Why do you want to do that? Thank you so much, Chubike Obina. Good evening from Istanbul, Kelechi Ambrose. Thank you so much, all the way from Istanbul. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so much for coming, Chibaik Obina. Chibaik. Good to have you today. So, well, I saw you anyways, but good to have you all the way from Istanbul. Why do they want to sustain it? When all over the world, we don't have any nation or any country having such kind of evil togetherness, or evil, evil jumbling, and bringing together, forcefully to live together. Why is BBC and the British government bent on making sure they sustain the contraption? We know, because they want to keep on stealing. Because they want to keep on stealing the resources of the people. And they hate us, yet they don't want us to go away on our way. Now, the hatred here is that you are fighting back. The hatred here is that they expect you to be cowed and allow yourself to be defeated, so that they would continue to take your resources. The hatred here is that you are hated, but they need you to be around so that they will continue to steal from you. So the hatred is not for you to be killed, or sorry, it's not for you to be let to go. The hatred is to keep you so that they can pretend that they need you, whereas they want to get you down until they're able to cut your race off. If you look at it in the context of this, you will understand why they appointed somebody like Peter Obi. Any politician that is endorsed by the Fulanis and the British, check that politician. You'll know what that person carried. You'll know what that person represents. Anarchy, lawlessness, a recipe for disaster. Yes, my brother, Chukukadibia. Recipe for disaster. But that disaster is caused by just simple things that would have been sorted, but yet they have become complex to the point where humans make them complex. Just things that could be sorted and done, willfully, and of course everybody go their way. Now BBC came up with a narrative. Now what BBC is trying to do is this, because different units, Peter Obi's unit comes, sells the propaganda. They call people like Ejiofor does his, and Ejiofor couldn't succeed. They keep bringing people who are doing their own deeds. Right? At the same time, they're looking for people to kidnap and kill them. Those who are standing strong against Nigeria, they're looking for them to kill them. And at the same time, they are working with organizations. They are working with their BBC has been existing for 90 years. BBC has always been there to create propaganda. Now they are coming to tell you that the only thing that Nigeria needs is leadership. How can you have leadership on illegality? I want to ask BBC, how do you legalize a particular leadership on something that is illegal? Even by your own making and design, you created Nigeria to live for 100 years. It expired in 2014. 9 years ago, it's expired. Yet, you still want to sustain what has been expired. Why do you want to sustain it? Because you felt that in 100 years, you would have been able to subject the people to mental slavery so that they will allow you to continue. That was why Britain allowed it. They said for 100 years, we're going to be here. They know that within 100 years, those people who were there when Nigeria was created and who were thirsty for the destruction of Nigeria, that is those in 1960 and all of that, and they feel that they have killed some of them by genocide. They have killed some of them during the war, and of course they believe that in the next 100 years, this generation will pass. And their own generation that will come will still be controlling the people, taking their resources. And then the generation that will come after our fathers would have grown under, would of course, will be indoctrinated with the culture and tradition and the educational style of Britain and all of that. Before we know it, in 100 years, we'll start thinking like them. And so we'll no more be thinking about freedom. We'll keep thinking about continuing life the way they have kept us, because they have told us that we should be in unity. They have told us that we should love one another. They have told us to look up to heaven because heaven is our home. They have told us not to think about this world. This world is not our home. They have made us feel that we don't need to fight for anything. Where we're going to get all the blessings is in heaven. And the same way they have corrupted our people. And of course, our children are growing up in this regard. They feel that people like us who will come on later will just grow up in the understanding of Nigeria, where we will no more ask questions. So they felt that since they felt that for 100 years, it would be easy to have gotten the people mentally enslaved, because those who were just born into this Nigeria will now become indoctrinated with the concept of Nigeria, so that they would now see themselves as Nigerians and will not ask questions. So they felt that 100 years was a very good one for indoctrination of a generation or generations. But they never knew that they calculated wrongly. They felt that by 2014, nobody who have been born under the auspices of Nigeria will be thinking of independence or freedom. All they will be thinking of is to continue the narrative, just like most people who are under the auspices of Nigeria are doing today. All they're thinking of is just to go to work, feed their family, give birth to their, marry somebody, begin to have sex, begin to have children, go to work, come back, train the children, think of letting the children grow again in that mind slavery mentality, and then grow up in that regard, and then also give birth to their own children, and those generation coming, and the generation which knew about how Nigeria came about would have been wiped off, and the new generation which doesn't know. That is why they removed history, so that the new generation will be totally reprogrammed, reconfigured to believe in Nigeria as theirs. At that time, they would have mentally enslaved the people to the point where they are no more going to be able to understand their past, because history have been taken away. They are growing up in the narrative of Nigeria, in the understanding of Nigeria, in all they think about Nigeria, and in the deceit and in the manipulation. But when they saw that the people were still resilient and talking about their freedom, they decided to make sure that they reignite. Britain decided to make sure that Fulani reignites the program of Osman Danfodio. That is why you saw that once they did the issue of democracy and all of that, they now decided, wow, these people are still not getting this narrative of becoming Nigerians. We need these people to be subdued immediately, because they might revolt very quickly. So quickly, they got their foot soldiers, kill them, and take over their land very quickly. That was the program. I don't know whether you guys understand this. Chiku Kadiba says those who want Nigeria should relocate, and we want Biafra, freedom and self-determination. Thank you so much, my brother Kuchuku Kadibia. That's it. We want our freedom. If you think you want Nigeria, you can go there. We still have some days to the election, so you can go to Nigeria and controlled zones, but in our territory. Of course, today we hear that the NUC, have decided to and tell students to go home of higher institutions, Nigeria University Commission or whatever that nonsense is called, and to go home on the 22nd, because they know what is coming after the yesterday's State of the Nation broadcast of Mazi Samanepa. They saw we are serious. They saw that we have given the mandate that there is going to be sit at home on the 23rd and curfew in some places. And they have seen the intensity that we're not going back. They now decided that, please, you guys should go home on the 22nd, because we maybe for our campus you can't die, or maybe for our campus now we can't enter trouble. Just go home and secure yourself and go and defend your land. And that is why all our young people, all the students should understand that they have been called to defend go back to your places. And those of you who are in Lagos, you have to be very, very careful, because you don't know what is coming. I tell you, from next week it's going to be very intense. You have to be very careful. As Mazi Samanepa said it yesterday, also I'm reiterating it now. You have to be very, very careful, because some terrible things are going to be happening shortly, especially from next week. You must understand that these are very, very, very terrible times. They are trying to penetrate us in every way. Even in autopilot, we have their eyes, and we are seeking, we are finding them out one after the other, those who are in autopilot and yet are the eyes of the Fulanis. So we want to tell you that they are trying every way and very hard to make sure that they destroy what we are doing. Britain is tactically giving them ideas and telling them what to do, but we know that we're resilient and truth will always override lies. And so we are certain and sure that we shall not be defeated, because we are mandated by Chukwu to carry out this. Florence O says they also kept history away from us. Yes, that is why they kept history away from us, because they need the 100 years to indoctrinate the people. Now, at 1914, they saw that in the next 100 years, if they sustained this contract in next 100 years, making the people feel, those people who were there, who signed this Nigeria agreement, and making them feel that in 100 years, you're going to get back your land. And so, but they knew that the people who are going to be born after that time might not come into the issues, they might not understand what really transpired. They would just live their lives in the norm, in the current, in the present. So what they did was to remove history so that the people cannot have a means of referring to their past, but they don't know that God knows how to do his things. God has a way of doing his things. Total ignorance, Florence says, and God still may put the heart of freedom in the minds of the people, and our people were still going to make researches. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu became the strong man who went further to make further researches, and also decided to take the mandate according to what God have programmed, and to decide to do what he needs to do. God bless you for your tirelessness, tirelessly works for Biafra. Mazi Kelechi, may God strengthen you more and more. He said, thank you so much, Mary Kay. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I appreciate you, Mary. Thank you. What business does a foreign mission have with telling their citizens, hosting them to go and vote? I don't understand what these people, when you look at it, you just become very, 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 very angry that Catriona Lang thinks that she looks so down on us that she can come and begin to tell us what to do to go and pick PVCs. But they should understand that we have come this time around and we have come to take the mandate without any blinking of our eyes. So I want to tell you people to get ready for what is to come. Those of you in Lagos and other parts outside Biafra land, you must be very vigilant and careful. You must be very vigilant and careful. And please, I want to tell Biafrans, watch out for the people around you. Watch out. There are many infiltrators around us. So many people are infiltrators around us. They have been given resources by Nigeria and they have penetrated to start doing things to be an eye for Nigeria. And we know these things and we understand them. Esther Chijum says, greetings Kelechi and hail Biafra. Speak up. Could you imagine that Okodik said blaming Igbo and Yoruba, no election in Biafra land? Okay. You see, that is why sometimes we don't, we don't care about what these people say. It's not our interest. We don't care what they say. We are resilient. There are so many people saying so many things, but we are going to touch with, we have to focus on our freedom. And that's what we're doing. So thank you so much, Chijum, for that, because whatever he said, that's his business. That's their business. We don't care. We are concerned about our freedom. Now I'm making this announcement again. Those of you in Lagos, those of you outside Biafra land, if it takes you to go back to Biafra and stay there for a while for this period of this election, those of you in the north of Nigeria, if it takes you to return back to your land and stay in your community and in your land, so until this election period that they have in Nigeria goes through and we break away from Nigeria, please do it, because you are in serious danger outside Biafra land. We are telling you, you are in serious danger. It is better to be in Biafra land than to be outside Biafra land. And please, I want to tell you, those of you who are in the north, go back to your land, go back to Biafra 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 land. Those of you in Lagos and other places, there are evil plans against you. Go back to your land now, and then prepare yourself to join forces to liberate your land. That is what we have come to do this time. Vigilance and alertness, Chukwu Kadibia says, must be our watchword during these crucial and volatile days. Yes, very crucial. And you must understand that Lagos is not your place. Ibadan is not your place. Abeokuta is not your place. All those places are not your place. Go back to your land now until this February time is through. Until this time is through. Oluchi Mwagod says, Maziklich, you're always right. Biafra must be restored. This time, no going back. Thank you so much, Oluchi Mwagod. Biafra must be restored. Thank you for that. Must. It's a must. It's a must. It's a must. Mary Kay says, Biafra, please. Biafrans, please store plenty of foods. If your neighbor's family of Biafrans have nothing to eat, please extend help to them. Biafrans is best to be Biafra nation than be a Nigerian. Be wise now than to be a Nigerian. Yes, you have to be wise now. And another wisdom thing you have to do now is that you must live wherever you are. Just like you travel during December period, you are traveling, you want to go back to go and celebrate Christmas, and because you want to go and show off. Some of you want to go and show off in the village. You save money from January to December, and you want to go and spend the money and show off in the village. You travel, and then after that, you come back to Lagos, start hustling. Go back now to Biafra land. This period will be very terrible. We are telling you that this freedom thing we are doing is not a joke. We are going to fight it out with Nigeria, and it's going to be brutal. And we don't want you to be attacked. So to be on the safe side, come back home. Go back home now if you are anywhere but in Biafra land, under that contraption called Nigeria. If you are anywhere but in Biafra land, leave that place you are, go back to Biafra land. The zoo will collect water in unknown distant time. Okay. Chi Ebuka unknown distant time. I was trying to marry that. Okay, I understand it. A very occur for same marriage creation. There will, because of what is happening, you people should advise someone to do not travel anywhere in Europe. We know what these people are up to. Thank you so much, Ebere. Yes, we have been telling him, and of course he knows that, and he is not going to travel. He's not going to travel. Mazi Manepa knows that he's not going to travel, and his security is very, very important to us. And we are very, 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 very cautious about that. Austin Future says, great and Mazi. Thank you so much, Austin. I appreciate you. So that is why we're also telling Biafrans, you need to go back home wherever you are. Going back to Biafra land is very, very crucial and important. If you're in the northern side of the contraption, go back to your land. It is very, very important. It is very, very important. We're saying this, but if you feel that you want to stay in Lagos or you want to stay wherever you are outside Biafra land, you must make sure you watch out for things around you. You must be very, very sensitive to the things happening around you. You must be very, very cautious of whoever you are discussing with, what you are discussing, and the things you are saying. You must be very, very, very careful of the activities around you. You must be very, very sensitive of what is happening around you. And you must make sure you have a weapon. Because when attacks come, at least, and you must make sure you have an exit point at every entrance. You must make sure you have somewhere a means of escaping in case of danger, because it's not going to be funny this period. The fight for freedom and liberation is a one-time fight. So we are bringing everything out to it. We are coming radically into it. We can't afford what happened to Oyendo. Yes, my sister Iberi. We can't afford that, and it won't happen. It won't happen, definitely. I assure you that it won't happen. My sister Manepa is protected, is safe by God, and of course, he's working with wisdom too. He's not going to go anywhere. We've discussed that several times, and of course, he has assured us he's not going to be traveling anywhere. So he's not going to. So Biafrans should be rest assured that he knows the security risk of everything. We want to tell you, this freedom thing is not what we want to fight and then lose again and go and start talking again hustling. That is why when they bring this narrative of, and let's go into the election, then after that, if it doesn't work, then we start talking about Biafra. Chineke, let me not swear for anybody. Let me not say anything. It is a one-time fight. Yes, thank you so much, my brother Chuku Kadibia. VPN is very, very important. Everyone in Biafra land must use this technology to avoid being tracked and fished out by spies amongst us. Very, very important. Very, very important. This VPN is very, very important so that you don't get tracked. Now, I want you to understand this. This fight for freedom is not a fight to lose and then come back later to start talking about our freedom, saying if you don't do our children well, as Philip Effiong said initially, that if you don't take care of us and our children, they'll rise up again. We are not coming for that narrative again. This narrative is once and for all. We are entering this thing once and for all. So this fight is one-time fight. So we are coming out for this fight with all that we have, everything, all our strength, everything. So this is the right time. That is why you out there must understand to also be secure and safe. And that is why they're going to come against you with everything they have. That is why we're telling you that you must stand strong in this time. BBC have carried this propaganda and is trying to make people feel good about election. They are trying to give the impression that the only problem that is in Nigeria is leadership. And they are trying to tell you to vote one of these candidates because they're going to fix it. They're trying to make you feel that it is about voting. If you vote for somebody, since they have been talking about somebody coming from the East, for God's sake, is Goodluck Jonathan not from the East? Is it because they divided the East to mean South, South, and Southeast, and then they make you feel divide and rule? And then you now think that Igbo man has not ruled? You don't know that is deceit? For Fulani to deceive you, that means you don't have sense. Because when they talk about South, South, and you also are bragging South, 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 you don't know you're very foolish? You're very foolish because Fulani gives you a name and you brag about it. You rant about it. You go around about it. You move everywhere around with the name. Fulani names you South, South. You now decide to disown your brothers because Fulani has named you South, South. Does that not show how foolish and stupid you are? That means those who Nama know more than you. They know more than you. They are smarter than you. They name you. And then they tell you that you are no more southeast, you are no more southeast, I'm sorry, you are southeast, you are south. You are no more one, and these ones as the southeast are Igbo speaking, and then you are not Igbo, and you are somewhere else. Even if they put you in Kogi, Benue, and put you in, move you in different places, and of course they cut you off. They say you are coastal region, and you are not part of the Igbo speaking side, so you are not part. And you also, being the fool, begin to project the narrative. Doesn't that show that you have a problem? That is why we say being a Nigerian does not give you the ability to be an intellectual, because it takes you to be a Nigerian to lose the ability to be intellectual, because every Nigerian does not have the capacity, the mental capacity, based on the fact that mental capacity is in comatose. So the fight we're fighting now is a one-time fight. It is not the fight that will bring us to the point of Philip Effiong again, saying that we have fought this fight, and now we are giving now to you and all of that. And so we want you to hello, sir. I'm live on a program right now. I'm live on a program. I don't know. Yes, I'm live.
Are you busy?
Yes, I'm live on a program now. Please, in the next 30 minutes, I'll be through.
Okay, go ahead.
And then, yes. So it is not that. It is not that. That is not it. Where Philip Effiong will now come and say, if you don't do us well again, we are not. No. This time we are not ready for that nonsense again. We are not ready for that situation again. No, let me not say nonsense. We're not ready for that situation again, because it's not nonsense. Of course, he found himself in that situation based on the sabotage, and the sabotage was so deep within that it's just. Look at the progress we were making for 3 years. We held Russia, we held Britain, we held Egypt, we held Nigeria. We held them. They couldn't defeat us. They couldn't defeat Biafra. You can imagine world powers fighting this tiny nation, this one they call dot nation, fighting us for 3.5 years. They were not able to defeat us until they began to starve us. And out of frustration, out of the pain of seeing our children dying, Philip Effiong and others gave up. That was the only. We were not privy to the fact that they could use air blockade, they could use land blockade, they could use sea blockade against us. That was why they were able to hit at us. They couldn't defeat us by air. They couldn't defeat us. We were dealing with them. They couldn't defeat us by land. The only weapon was to starve the people. To block. Nothing was coming in. So our children were dying. Sorry, the children were dying. They are not my children because they are older than me. They are even my grandparents and my parents. They were dying. And Philip Effiong and co, because of the human heart they had to surrender. And when they surrendered, they said, if you don't treat these people well now, they are going to grow up to revenge. Now we have come out to revenge, to avenge, and we are not ready for that same situation that made Philip Effiong to say, if you don't treat them well, it is not going to happen in our time. That is why we are no more going to treat sabotage anymore with kid gloves. Every form of sabotaging, we are going to fight to stand still. If you have been designed by the British government or by Nigerian government and planted in autopilot to corrupt and to be an eye of the Fulani, sorry for you, you will go down. Yes, they joined them in slaughtering our people. Thank you so much, Adazayan, for that. Even Pakistan and Ukraine joined them in slaughtering our people between 1967 and 1970. Yes, because Ukraine and all of that, they were all part of it. They were all part of it. So because we know what sabotage did to the people in 1967 and 1970, between 1967 and 1970, we are not going to entertain sabotage now. It is very dangerous. No. We will not, because we are not going to allow that case again. If you don't take care of them now, their children will grow up. No, it's not going to happen in our time. We are not looking at that in our time. In our time, it won't happen. It won't happen in our time. It won't happen in our time. Thanks, Mazen Kelechi. Southern Eastern politicians should bring from the money they have taken. They should not run away. We are waiting for them everywhere. Rodney Nathaniel said, yes, we're waiting for them. And that's why we are not going to treat sabotage this time around. We are going to destroy every form of sabotage, because we know what sabotage did to them in 1967 and 1970. And in this crucial time, any form of sabotage. So if you think you're an I in IPOB trying to destroy the concept of our freedom, sorry for you. You are just in a big mess. Because both spiritually and physically, we're going to handle you. Both, listen to me very well, both physically and spiritually, we're going to handle you very, very well. This is no time for jokes. This is no time for nonsense. Both spiritually, you will know that you also engage in spiritual activities, going from one juju house, RC, and everywhere, going everywhere, putting your hands in juju. But we can tell you that truth is the highest juju. And that is why we said truth, which establishes the reality of the nations of the world and the galaxies and nature and everything we find in the world and everything we found in the heavens. Truth established them. So if truth can establish the unimaginable, then you can imagine how will you fight truth with a product of truth. It's not possible. You can't fight truth with a corruption that comes out of truth, because lies came out of even the fact of truth, because truth was evident, and lies carved its way out of truth using the concept of truth to deceive. It's not possible, because truth has been sustained millions of years now, until now. Truth has been sustained. How do you know truth has been sustained? For the fact that God is still alive means truth has been sustained. For the fact that God is not even created, does not have days, does not have beginning, does not have end, means that truth is everlasting and truth is spiritual and eternal. For the fact that the world is still standing strong and everything that God has been created millions of years ago and numbers of years and zillions of years ago that we cannot talk about are still standing now based on the fact that truth created them, simply means that truth cannot be defeated. So your lies came later. Lies was later and was a later product out of the whole concept of truth. You must understand this. You must understand this. So if you have come to sabotage, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. You are in trouble. People must know that the dragon is working with those that need freedom, and Biafra and Biafra and thieves. Okay, the dragon is working against them, right? That's what you're trying to say. It's working with those that need freedom. Okay, and Biafra and thieves. I don't understand the thieves there. Maybe you send another message to make me understand. God, I know you're trying to say something beautiful there. Friday says, and this is typically white supremacist and conspiracy, and of course against the black race. They know that if Biafra is allowed freedom, it will develop even better. Now that is the concept, because we understand this. We understand this. We don't care what they think anymore. We know that what we want is our freedom, and that is the most important thing to us, what our freedom represents. So that is the concept of what we are talking about. You must understand that you cannot defeat truth. So just like those who have come with lies have been defeated over time, you that have come with lies this time, you cannot. We understand what sabotage did to Effiong, to Ojukwu, how they struggled, but yes, sustained this thing for 3.5 years. We understand how they sustained this thing. But we know that they sustained it because they were on truth, on the path of truth, and they were not destroyed completely because they were on the path of truth. But truth also still germinates and will overrun the lies. So I want you to understand this. So let me tell UK and Britain, or Britain critically, and BBC that your propaganda this time will not work. Trying to make the people believe that everything is all right, all they need is leadership, it won't work. Trying to make the people feel good about Nigeria, that the only problem that Nigeria has is leadership, it does not work. Trying to make them feel that they just have to go for elections so that they can get leadership, get the best leaders they can get, does not work. Goodluck Jonathan also was from Biafra land. He couldn't resolve Nigeria. In fact, in his time, it became worse. Even if you bring another Biafran into that place, it will get worse. You know why? The same Fulanis will sabotage him because they're in control of the National Assembly, they're in control of the military, they're in control of the finances, they're in control of everything. So they are the ones who are going to sabotage him to make sure that his government becomes very useless, so that they will now use it as a narrative of bringing themselves in again. And of course, anybody who comes now, if we allow election in Biafra land, I tell you, the next government, if that government comes from Biafra land, for instance, which cannot even happen if we allow, it's not going to work, because we know it is Atiku they're going to give it to. Let me tell you, even if someone comes from Biafra land to rule, that person will not last 2 years, I bet you. they will overrun the whole of Biafra land. Their plan was the war they brought in, they thought they were going to fight in 2022, but because of the bringing in of ESN, which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu instituted in December 2020, as soon as ESN was created, it disrupted their ability, you know, to be able to carry out that war and total radical genocide on Biafra nation. That was what they planned. During that COVID period, they were moving their men into the forest. They were moving materials. They were moving equipments into Biafra land. They wanted to attack from there. They wanted to attack massively. They will give them an order. That was what Malaifa was talking about. Mr. Malaifa, that was killed. The man from Benue, the former deputy governor of CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria. They moved their equipment into Biafra land. It was ESN that stopped. They were supposed to go all out. They were supposed to move their equipment throughout that period of 2020 during that COVID, and then move them until they wanted to move mass equipment into Biafra land and other places. They will move it into Lagos, into other places of Oduduwa nation. They will move everything from that 2020 to 2021, and then in 2022 they will give the order. At once, the attack will come from every corner. We will be confused. That was the plan. They would use their men who have penetrated our land, sewing shoes for people, polishing people's shoes, selling rubber and picking things. They have used those ones to know every corner of our land. They were waiting. Once they have been able to get all the equipment and get their men all around Biafra land and all over Oduduwa land, and the equipment have been moved, they'll give the order. The attack will be coming from middle, from center, from corner, from every place, and at the same time, the attack they will overrun us. Then all BBC will do is that there is attack in Nigeria, and the extremists, they'll say extremists, attack their communities, and they have overrun so many communities, and war is going on in Nigeria. And then the Anthony Blinken and other people and all of them, the US president, they will now come. We condemn what is happening in Nigeria, and we say that peace should be restored. And then the Fulanis would have taken control, and the caliphate would have taken control. And then they will tell the caliphate, we are telling you to sustain human rights and to call for election in the land. We want you to return back to election, and narratives of deceit. But they will not tell them to leave the land. They will only tell them to bring back sanity. And what does sanity mean? That means you are now controlling them. So let things begin to work well now. Of course, they know that their oil, they'll still be taking their oil. They know that the stealing of our resources, they'll still be taking the resources. That is the plan. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu destroyed that plan as soon as ESN was launched. It devastated them. They became so angry. They became so pained. They were so pained that they began to think, what do we do? Please, you this South and you this Biafra this South and Southeast governors, you need to do something about this. We need to get this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We need to get this Nnamdi Kanu. We need to bring him down. This man have destroyed our plans. We need to bring him down. They begin to pump money to them. This one says, we'll give you this contract. We'll give you oil. We'll give you this. No problem. We'll get Nnamdi Kanu for you. We know our people now. It's money. Bring us this money, we'll do it for you. And they give the money. And this one, Ifeanyi Ubah and Co., Soludo and Co., they sat down. Ejiofor sat with them. Security meeting. They call it security meeting. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they were remote controlling Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Go here, go there, go here for your security, go here, do this, go here. And because he has a clean heart, he thought he was moving with people who are very genuine and who love him. Ejiofor. He thought Ejiofor was for him, not knowing that he was eating with the devil. And so, suddenly, the same Biafra people donated their aircraft to go and pick him from Kenya. That is how they fought to make sure they got Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The same sabotage. That is why we say this time, we will not allow sabotage to destroy what we're doing. Anywhere we see sabotage, we will fight it. Anywhere we see any act of sabotage, we will fight it. Anywhere we see anybody trying to disrupt what Mazi Simon Ekpa is doing and what Chukwu Okike has put in his heart through the spirit of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, by the order of the Spirit of God, that they have come to disrupt it, we will fight it. Because we know that if you get at him, you have gotten at us. And when you get at us, you have destroyed Biafra freedom. So every Biafran must be up and alert to understand what is going. To understand what is going on. We must stand strong, everybody. We must understand that don't allow sabotage. Anybody who comes in your place and trying to do, anybody trying to get you with money. I'm so happy about the communities. The communities that are chasing these politicians away from their communities in Biafra land. I am so delighted when I saw the videos and I saw some of this. I was so delighted. Wow, our people have woken up. As Mazi Samanepa said, in the middle of this month, they will make our job easier for us. And it is happening. Mazi Namikani said it, that Biafra will come. It will come. And the way it is going to come, it will be obvious that it is God. So don't think that, those of you who are thinking that, well, how do we fight it? How are we going to do it? And we don't have what it takes, because you are not in the spirit. Because you are not in the spirit. You must understand what is happening right now, that we are set to go home. So that is how they did all of that, and that was the concept of betrayal. Now let me tell you this, BBC. I want to talk to BBC because the central focus here, the focus here, or the central truth here is the issue of BBC's misinformation program. They have a program they call misinformation and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And they are the ones misinforming people. What kind of evil network is this? Or station is that? BBC. What kind of evil? And the problem is that you begin to wonder, how come that from generation to generation, the same people who have been employed in BBC keep on going into the same evil, helping the British government in the same evil narrative? Does it mean that anybody who works in their corporation are evil? Or does it mean that when their people get into government, when they are not in government yet, they look like they are normal and they're okay? When you bring them into government or you bring them into any organization, they now prove how evil they are. Or they have a selected few whom they groom regularly into their evil plans. Everything BBC does against Biafra people is evil. Now, BBC today, as of today, the death toll of those who have died in Turkey and in Syria based on the earthquake. I believe that most of you know the earthquake. This is a 7.6 magnitude earthquake or 7.2, I can't remember, but very high. Over about 20,000 people have died now from that earthquake. That is natural disaster. And thousands still are stuck under the ground as we talk. BBC have been talking about this over and over and over. But do you know something? BBC is quick to create an impression of emotion. Most of their programs have been, the OS they did even this evening was about giving an impression that they are so pained about what is happening. They proved to be very emotional and pained about things that happen, death and all of that, when it comes to natural disasters and all of those details, and they proved to, but they are not pained. The reason why how you know that they are hypocrites is that people are being killed in Biafra land. They are not even reporting it, but they are pretending to feel that they are pained about a natural disaster. 7.8 magnitude. All right, Chiku Kadibia, thank you so much for that. 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Very heavy. 20,000 as of today, dead bodies that have been brought out. Thousands still under the ground. BBC is everywhere reporting. Yes, 20,000 plus. BBC is reporting everywhere. They pretend to be very concerned about death happening to people. And in their narrative, they keep telling you that this is they have not seen something like this before, and that people dying like this, people are dying, people are feeling the pain. They start interviewing people. How are you feeling about what is happening? Your family members, blah, blah. And they begin to talk passionately. We are sorry for what is happening to you. You are sorry. You are not truly sorry because you are only looking at things that you can report that is easy to report based on the fact that your interest is not shaken in it. But because your interest is shaken when it comes to Biafra and the death, you will not report it, which means that your stuff is hypocrisy. You are not really interested in the death of those who have died. You are only just trying to portray emotional, political, concept to sell a narrative of concern in a situation that, of course, nobody could control. Worldwide earthquake is coming. But the way says, worldwide earthquake is coming, and that is when the Christ will come to take the government of the nations of the world. Yeah. BBC is showing a false narrative when it comes to emotional display and expression of things. Yes, I'll be. I am live on a program right now. I'll be coming in now to the meeting. Okay, please. Okay. Yes, I'll be coming live. I'll be coming to the program. I'll end now. Yes, I'll end the program. Yes, I'll be coming. Yes, please. Sorry, the call have been coming. You guys know, and I'm supposed to be in a meeting now. Please, I will stop here. Tomorrow we're going to be having by 4 p.m. We're going to have guests here. Tomorrow we might not go with the the Alliance program discussion. We're going to be going on a regular program, which of course is going to talk about issue of Biafra for tomorrow. And the Alliance program with Oduduwa Nation will continue next week Friday. We're going to have guests from that place joining us. So I would just have to end here because I want to join the meeting. Master Kelechi, I knew something was wrong the day you had program with Pastor Emeka Prince in the way you people are talking. A very careful. Oh my God. Nothing is wrong, right? Don't worry, nothing is wrong. We only just, when you have a nation like this, you'll always have people who want to come and sabotage the work. And so we are doing what we need to do as a people to make sure that we don't have sabotaging, in our midst. That is why we are doing what we're doing. And, we love Biafra. We love everyone. We want to see our freedom. I'm tired of being outside Biafra land. I want to be in my land. And I know that you also are tired of being outside Biafra land. You want to be in our land. We want to be together. We want to grow our nation. That's what we're interested in. And that's why we're doing what we're doing to make sure that sabotaging does not come in our midst. And so please don't don't worry. It's not something it's not a big deal. It's just normal, things that we can handle, trying to sort some things that have to do with people we are suspecting that are coming to sabotage Biafra freedom. So they are planted by the criminals, in the contraption, planted by Britain, to come and spoil or to contaminate and destroy our program. So we are looking at those things critically, and that is why. So please don't think that something is happening somewhere. No, no, not that. But of course, when it comes to freedom fighting, there will always be, you have to be very vigilant, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're doing. So please, I appreciate you guys. Please pardon me, I have to leave now. Join us tomorrow 4 p.m. We're going to be here to talk more. The Alliance program will continue next week Friday, and then. But for now, we're going to be talking about Biafra again, and we'll continue on this narrative tomorrow, intensifying our proclamation to BBC and everyone who has been mandated and designed to sell the narrative of election and to sell the narrative of Nigeria to us. We are going to bring them down. That is what we're going to do. We're not here for jokes. We're not here again to come and get to another situation where we'll have somebody again who's going to come like Philip Effiong. I'm saying it for the 4th time now and say, if you don't treat us well, no, we're not coming here to be defeated again. We have come to win. And that is why we're going to do everything to make sure we win. Everything. Even if it takes me to fight my mother, my father, they're alive and they hear me. Even if it takes me to fight them for Biafra, I'll fight them. If I see them sabotage Biafra, I'll come against them. That is what it is. That is how it is. That is how rugged it is in my heart. So that is it. So I don't care whose ass is God when it comes to defending Biafra. I don't care whose ass is God. No, I don't care. It's not about somebody. I want to preserve. I don't want trouble. I don't want them to say, no, I will come all out. You call me a criminal or you call me, what do you want to call me? For fighting for freedom, for fighting for, as much as I am on the path of truth, you can never call me any name and I'm going to take it to mean anything to me, because freedom is the ultimate thing. And that's what I want to happen in my generation, not in the next generation. This generation will get the freedom. And from next week is going to be another dance for Nigeria and for the contraption and for Britain and all of them. It's going to be another dance. We're going to get our freedom and we'll get out of Nigeria. It will happen like miracle. We will get off suddenly. No, don't worry. Nobody's going, our people will be protected. Our people will be protected. So thank you so much. I say please join me tomorrow 4 p.m. Biafra time, and we're going to be talking more. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay blessed, and God bless you.